It's the TMI, lovely Monday morning. And we have our debut segment on the show, TMI Socials, where we'll be updating you with all the trending stories on social media. And our anchor is already here with us in the studio talking about Anuluakbo Stevens. Good to have you. And how's your weekend?
It was great. How was your weekend?
Awesome. So take us away.
Okay, so welcome aboard to TMI Socials, and we'll begin with the story that made the round on social media. Actually a foreign story, but interestingly, it found its way to the Nigeria social media space. I'm talking about the inflation in Turkey. So the new head of Turkey's central bank said she has been priced out of Istanbul's property markets by rampant inflation, leaving no choice for the former finance executive but to move back with her parents. Now, she says, and I quote, "We haven't found a home in Istanbul. It is terribly expensive. We've moved in with my parents." 44-year-old Hafize Gaye Erkan, who took up her post in June after 2 decades in the United States, told the Hurriyet newspaper. Now, Erkan previously worked at firms including Goldman Sachs and First Republic Bank, and is now getting a crash course in the soaring prices that has seen many young people struggling to find lodgings. The central bank last month pushed up a benchmark lending rate to 40% in a bid to get inflation under control. Now, case closed. Let's see how you reacted to this on social media. Central Bank of Turkey's foreign minister actually had to leave her home back to her parents, and it's quite shocking. And seeing different comments on social media was really funny and also alarming as well. I remember seeing posts like, "You cannot hear about this or see this happen in Nigeria." A Nigerian politician just left the booths and all of that. And for the new head of the central bank in Turkey to have to move back to her parents' house is something that, I don't know, is just off the hook for me, I tell you. But anyway, let's move over to another story that made the round last weekend. I'm talking about the former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. So he has joined calls for the restructuring of the country, Nigeria, before the year 2027, saying Nigeria is a failing state. Now, he insisted that Nigeria would be considered a failed state if it does not provide the security, welfare, and basic needs of its citizens. So Jega affirmed his position on the state of the country's political economy while delivering a lecture, and this happened precisely on Friday. The lecture was tagged "Safeguarding Nigeria's Future, Prioritizing Citizens' Welfare and Security Amidst Challenges" at the maiden convocation of the Bauchi State University. So to address the systematic and governance challenges, Jega recommends that the amendment of the Electoral Act be done. So reactions I did see online says, you don't have any say, you cannot open your mouth to talk about this stuff, because who are you to remove the log in someone's eyes when you've not removed the plague in your own eyes, you know, stuff like that. Remember in 2015, he was in charge of the whole political, you know, saga in the country. Let's quickly move over to the third story I have. It says, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has called for the legislation against unexplained wealth as a way of checking the criminal activities of treasury looters in the country. EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewole, in a statement, quoted Mr. Olukoyede as making the call at the 2-day International Law Conference organized in Ogun State University, that's the Christopher University in Mowe. The theme of the conference is Unexplained Wealth in the Global Scene in the South, examining the asset recovery and the return trajectory. Mr. Olukoyede said several countries, including the United Kingdom, Australia, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Tobago, has embraced the unexplained wealth orders since it came into force in 2018. He said the EFCC was still relying on the provisions of Section 7 of its Establishment Act to check the menace. Right. So MC Makolo, our reaction are from Instagram precisely says, yet every EFCC chairman that leaves office automatically becomes billionaires overnight, and you're not seeking legislation on that one, or the politicians that are even balling. And then he rolls his eyes up. So, over the weekend, fans of both Davido, I love to call him Davido, and Wizkid were thrilled to witness the rare display of the friendship between the two Nigerian music icons, as videos showing the duo sharing a moment of wonderful stuff has been viral on social media. Now, in the heartwarming clip, the duo were seen at the center of a fan base over who is the better artist, now putting all of the speculations to rest. So the video quickly garnered attention from fans and music enthusiasts alike, with many expressing their excitement and admiration of both artists coming together. Yeah, that's Obio and Wizkid. That's the FC. I think Wizkid is actually called the FC guy, and Obio is called the 30BG gang. So this actually put a whole lot of smiles on people's faces. Can we see reactions, please? I remember someone saying, whilst the fans are killing themselves over, the two artists are just chilling out and cashing out. So Wasil on Instagram says, Burna Boy back with his babe. Davido and Wizkid locked in again. This is your sign to go back to your ex by 2024. 21 Vibe says Davido and Wizkid are busy loving each other on and off camera and making their money, while the 30BG and FC are busy causing issues between themselves online and fighting each other on and off camera. We are fools and losers. Well, not me though, you guys. Can we have another reaction? Or would that be the last? Okay, finally, Kennedy says, I'm happy to see Davido and Wizkid vibing together. Yeah, lovely stuff there. So, over to you, Sunny Duke. Which of the stories would you love to react to?
I mean, all the stories are quite enchanting and very engaging. I mean, if we could just start from this last story, and move up, we'll see the usual thing that happens on social media. The main actors are loving themselves, enjoying life together, and just building that friendship, and most importantly, making lots of money in the millions and in the billions. And their fans are tearing themselves apart.
Right.
The FC gang members and the 30BG gang members. I mean, it just shows to you that many of the things that you see on social media, they are not real. In fact, the real main actors are just somewhere.
Chilling.
And yeah, it's the same thing we see every now and then, even in the political sphere. You find two political actors, the main actors, you know, they're somewhere chilling, but their supporters are killing themselves, which is just absurd for me. But I hope that with this...
we get to learn.
Yeah, but funny enough, because, you know, you have the real communities, you have the virtual communities.
True.
Online. In most cases, these members of virtual communities, they don't want to hear anything. They just want to stay on this side. But I think the main actors are loving it in a sense, because it hypes them and gives them very active online.
Of course, and I'm sure some of the fans were even saying, no, we don't want this friendship, don't even go there, let's keep on fighting and bashing each other.
And I also like the story on the Central Bank of Turkey.
Yeah, right.
The lady had to move in with her parents because she couldn't afford the accommodation rate. I mean, it's something out of this world. Because that can happen in Nigeria, like some people said.
Never.
Yeah, that can happen in Nigeria. And then, of course, the story on Jega, the former INEC chairman. I mean, it's always very concerning to me where you find instances where people who, in one way or the other, contributed to the mess that we are in, they will come out and start trying to make comments or make statements about, how the... Because I remember, in the build-up to the 2015 election, the U.S. intelligence agency, CIA, did say Nigeria will become a failed state by 2015. And it was like, oh hell, let loose.
Yeah, we saw all of that reaction.
Yes,
why would you say that?
But he's alluding to that statement. That was, you know, people don't understand that in life, in governance, policies, development, if it's backed by data, you can't fault it.
True.
So the U.S. intelligence agency coming out to make that statement at the time, it was backed by data that were so analyzed to come to that conclusion. They didn't just say that out of the blues. But you can see now, many years down the line, the guy who presided over one of the most controversial elections in Nigerian history, is alluding to that, because things are so hard, life is so hard, things are so difficult. It's quite sad, quite sad.
Yeah, quite sad indeed, and we can only pray and hope for the best and pray that God helps us as we get to move on, because I feel like we're super duper religious in this country, and we always fall back to God at the end of the day.
Unfortunately, look at the story on the AFCC. I'm just wondering, maybe the guy really needs to get busy, because there are certain things that it's not just about talking, it's actually the doing. That's the most important thing. If we want to put things in the right perspectives and change the narratives about the country, we need to do more than we talk. The laws are there. There are components of the Constitution that provides the empowerment for things to be done, but we just look the other way around. So until we get to that point where we can really take action, hold those people who are looters
accountable,
this will not stop. So it's not just about another law. The laws are there. Get them working. After all, a man like Nuhu Ribadu, who was the pioneer chairman of EFCC, made outstanding impacts. If he could do it, holding people that were in government accountable, any other person can do it. I mean, Nuhu Ribadu was the one who jailed his boss. You remember Tafa Balogun was sent to jail. And eventually, I think he's passed or so. But that's just to show that you need people with strong character to be able to lead institutions like that, so you can get the result that you want.
And now he has the opportunity at his hand to print out his name and leave it on the platter of gold.
Absolutely.
So let's see how that turns out.
Only time will tell.